Meltem, what do you make of all of this back and forth and up and down? Is Bitcoin really a safe haven or not?
Yeah, it's great to be here. I wish it were under better circumstances. I think this has been a really interesting few weeks. Not only do we have this conflict happening in Western Europe and Eastern Europe, but we also recently had the Canadian truckers and their access to the banking system getting cut off, which again was an instance where there was a lot of conversation around Bitcoin, around cryptocurrency. At the end of the day, I think what we're seeing here is a growing awareness around the world that for the first time, people, right, citizens who really are the victims of wars that are fought by superpowers, they have a choice. Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies are non-political global money. And again, we're seeing not only an increase in trading activity in Ukraine and Russia, but also a lot of the trading activities coming from the US as people are looking at what's unfolding around the world. And maybe this is the start of this Bitcoin no longer being a risk on asset, but potentially over time becoming a risk off asset. Now, a couple of weeks is really not enough time for that thesis to play out. But I think in the coming months, in the coming years, we're certainly going to be able to have a lot more data that allows us to more definitively prove that relationship holds over time.
Now, crypto exchanges have said they'll comply with sanctions, but not do a blanket ban on all Russian users. What do you make of how they're navigating this? And can they really differentiate between Russian tycoons, if you will, and everyday Russians?
Yeah, absolutely. And look, that's a great question. In 2018 is when we saw FinCEN and Treasury issue the first sanction against a Bitcoin wallet address. Now, one of the interesting challenges here is a Bitcoin wallet address is just a string of characters. You can attach it to a person, although there are a lot of tools that allow us to do that. And obviously, anytime you want to interact with the legacy financial system, meaning fiat currencies, which is the money we spend and use, that's the money that oligarchs and tycoons have to use to buy fuel for their jets and their yachts, you're interacting typically with a financial institution, which will do a lot of background checks and gather data on who you are. Now, at the end of the day, I think the stance that many exchanges have taken is they're going to comply with the rules as they're written. And at the end of the day, private citizens in Ukraine and Russia and any part of the world that are not subject to blanket sanctions should be allowed to use these platforms just as they have in the past. And again, anyone who is the subject of an official sanction, anyone who's on an OFAC list will be blocked. Now, what happens in the decentralized side of this is obviously much more challenging to control. But at the end of the day, it's very difficult to move millions, tens, hundreds of millions of dollars and move them in and out of crypto without touching a legacy financial institution. So again, it's really at those endpoints where we're touching cash, the control is going to be happening.
Now, after raising almost $47 million in donation via cryptocurrency, Ukraine has been so crypto forward and, accessing all of these new technologies. Some of these things would be unheard of here right. in the United States. They said they would airdrop rewards to those who contributed, though. Then they said they're canceling that, but they're now talking about auctioning off NFTs. What do you make of their use and exploration of these new technologies?
Look, I think it's absolutely incredible. Over 35,000 different wallet addresses have given close to $50 million in direct aid to the government of Ukraine. And in real time, right, with settlement to this wallet address that's owned by the Ukrainian government. Now, in contrast, the country has raised $270 million in war bonds and received $350 million in military aid from the US. So while 50 million is not a huge number, it's a sizable number that can really make a difference. Now, what's really cool about this to me is anyone in the world could give money. This is non-political global money that's transferred on the internet. So anyone with an internet connection, whether they live in Africa, whether they live in Southeast Asia, whether they live in the US, they can send money either via an intermediary or directly via their own wallet. And I think that's really exciting. It brings a lot of transparency as well in terms of where the donations are going. We're not shipping pallets of cash into these countries, which is what's been done in the past in these conflicts, but we're able to confirm with certainty that these funds are going to go to the government. And what's really exciting is in a matter of hours, a decentralized exchange protocol called Uniswap actually was able to spin up a really cool new product that would allow people to convert any token into a donation that would send directly to the Ukrainian government. So the fact that we can do this in hours, I think is incredible. The fact that the crypto community has mobilized around this, I think is incredibly exciting. And again, I think Ukraine's embrace of this is acknowledgement that the world is supporting the people of Ukraine. The world wants to help. And whether they get a token or an NFT indicating their support, we buy things all the time. People buy poppies on Remembrance Day. People buy bumper stickers to denote their support of specific causes. In the digital world, right, on the internet, we might buy NFTs or we might donate to get a digital token that indicates our support of a cause.